So, basics. I'm Peter. You're Emily.
I'm Emily.
And we have been living in Luzhou, mostly Luzhou, for 8 years. Living in China for 8 years. We've lived in one other place, in Yunnan, for 1 year.
Yeah.
But we've been only living here. We've only gone home a couple of times.
Yep.
You've been home 3 times. I've been home once.
That's correct.
We've been out of the country a couple of times, but not many. We've been a decent amount of places, big and small, around China.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of feel, you speak Chinese, I don't. So we kind of know a decent amount of stuff about, we've read our history books, we've studied the culture as best as we could.
Yeah.
And we have...
Ongoing.
Yeah, we haven't learned everything.
This isn't the end.
And yeah, this is some kind of tome of like, this is how it... No, this, you're a teacher. We were both teachers. I don't teach anymore. You're a teacher now of kindergarten. We've taught a whole gambit.
I've taught almost every age.
And I don't teach anymore. I almost drank myself to death a couple of years ago. And I say that not for any kind of give me prayers or anything, but so that you know that we spent
we are familiar with the Chinese medical system.
Months?
Yes.
2.5 months in a hospital?
10 weeks in the hospital, yeah.
And that was not great. Our hospital here in town in Luzhou, which is a small city in Sichuan province, people were great there. They treated me great, but there's no way in hell we're taking any chances of going back there or to any other hospital. So that's that information.
Yep.
And now we've been here, mostly in this apartment. Taking these precautions for I'm losing track. I forgot yesterday was Sunday now. Is it Sunday?
Yesterday was Friday.
Oh, crap, see?
I think we've been in a it is entirely voluntary, semi-lockdown, semi-recluse state for about 8 days.
Semi-recluse.
Well, lockdown
semi-reckless
sounds more official than we are. The people of Wuhan are under lockdown. Mm-hmm. We are not under lockdown. We have some guidelines. The government in Sichuan doesn't want people to gather in groups of more than 4. Most restaurants aren't open. I saw on my WeChat, I follow the guy who runs the Western restaurant in Kunming.
Okay.
He wrote like, "Hey guys, we're still open, although we recommend takeaway orders." There's just like a general feeling of not to gather in large groups of people, and people are following that.
Even downstairs at our little gathering by where the pool area is, it's not a pool at the moment, it's a hole, but I mean, it's not a hole, but
it's a hole for water.
It's a hole for water, which is a pool in the winter.
Yeah.
Even down by there where everyone plays mahjong, there are 3 people that are playing, not 4.
Yeah. There's a 1 in, 1 out policy.
Yeah. So everyone in our neighborhood is staying indoors. Our grocery stores are open. Our pharmacy is open.
They take your temperature when you go into the grocery store. They started doing that the other day.
Our pharmacies are there. Sometimes there's a line. There wasn't a line today. We just came from the grocery store and the pharmacy. Mm-hmm. All the guys are out there with their bang sticks selling their beautiful strawberries.
Oh my goodness. We should have bought some.
And chestnuts and flowers and things like that. So, but the streets are definitely empty comparatively. But there are people out there and people are wearing their masks.
Like when I went to the park 3 days ago, there were people out, but it wasn't as crowded as it would have normally been. But there are also the official bulletin we got the other day recommended moderate exercise. So everybody was walking around the reservoir. That's a nice place to walk. But also keeping their distance from other people. I think people are conscious and doing the things that they know to do. Nobody appears to be freaking out yet, which is, at this point to us, that's the biggest danger, is a loss of calm.
Mm-hmm. not just here for this city, but everywhere.
In the entire world, yeah.
That's not just the buzz around town.
Society is an artificial construct that only works because we all believe in it. So we need to keep believing in it. And there's stuff like, I have the app that the government said to download that keeps track of cases where how many sick people are in Luzhou. It's been 5 for the past couple days, and you could say, like, as the entire world is screaming at each other, like, no, but everybody's lying and nobody has the truth. But I can't function in a world where there is no truth, so I have to pick something. And so it's the behavior I see, and then, like, this app, you know.
We do what we can with what we know in town. We have friends in town, both locals, both other expats, foreigners, the people that you work for. There's the local, there's the apps, the phones telling you stuff on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We're getting as much information as we can about our town.
Yeah.
And the general consensus is that, like, everyone just kind of stay where you're supposed to, and go out when you absolutely have to, and wash your hands and wear your gloves and mask. Again, we've been in this town, we've been in this country, we've been in the hospital. We know how to take care of ourselves. We barely left the apartment, so we don't need any kind of advice as to what you're doing right or doing wrong. We're pretty well, and we're hunkered into what's going on. We have friends that are at the hospital in our town.
As staff, not.
Yeah.
Our friends are in the hospital. No, not that we know of.
Not that we know of. So we are just speaking about our small little city of over 2 million. In Sichuan province. Yeah. And that's all we know about, other than the craziness that is coming at us from everywhere else. If
we can make clear, this isn't news, this is more therapy for Peter and I, who've been stuck in the house for 8 days.
Yeah, I would say this is not...
We have some version of this conversation at least twice a day for hours.
Yeah, this isn't for, like,
we thought maybe
general consumption around people, for you to figure out what to do with your lives.
Yeah.
This is for our friends.
This is our experience.
Our friends and our family, to say hi, for in case you're any other expat, or particularly any other locals in our neighborhood, that, because we know we have a few viewers there. Anyone else that is stuck in their apartment like we are, it's for you guys just to say, like, hey, we're busy doing some stuff. Here's what we're up to. We made some soup and stuff. Don't come over. But mostly it's for us, just to, because we are sitting here and we are making soup. We are trying to putter around the house and do stuff. We're keeping busy with projects. We're talking about making videos. We're writing music, and we're doing things in the house. We're fuddling around on the roof when there's nobody out there. Once that was at the beginning. But mostly we're on our floor. Yeah. We go out to the pharmacy, to the grocery store if need be, and we come back for a couple of days, and that's how it's been. Yeah. And that's where we are here on day whatever. Yeah. I mean, what are you counting? Are you counting since the epidemic started, since the first case? Who knows? Our reality is 8 days ago we stopped going outside a lot. And some of it too is, like, I wasn't supposed to go back till the 2nd anyway. No, to the 5th of February anyway, so we would have been doing some version of this, just minus the international health threat. And that's because of the holiday, we go out, we go to 𝗖𝗵𝚅 as best as we can. We go to the grocery store before spring holiday, because all the restaurants close, and we don't have family here that is going to send us to dinners all around the place. So we buy all our stuff that we can for at least 3 or 4 days. So we were prepared. Eat the most cheese that we do all year. Most cheese that we can get sent to us from the bigger cities. So we were prepared for something that normally happens every year. Also, we're incredibly cautious people. We're very nervous. Aside from, like, we don't want to go. We're very nervous. We're introverts. We don't go out. We don't usually hang out in places and anything. So this is like a perfect scenario for us. I've been training for this my entire life.
Yeah. And I guess it's a valid question why we didn't evacuate. We just didn't feel that was necessary, given that this is our home. It's not like we would be going home, we would be leaving home, so that the decision to leave didn't feel right at this time.
Right. And not that we're against any kind of evacuation. If things are like we were saying last night, if our building is emptying out and people have got their bags and they're going outside, and we know what it would look like if things got bad, and we would be with that. And the thing is what you're going to say is that too late at that point? But is it ever too late to leave your home and spread a disease around town?
Yeah.
Or the city or the world?
Right now, we actually feel quite safe where we are, and the infrastructure seems to be holding up. We saw package deliveries happening again.
Our gates are protected. We're in a gated community, and like a lot of places in China, and it's huge. I don't even know how many residents are in it, but that's not even a particularly big one. But it's sort of about a half a block or a block, and we have
it's one of the smaller ones in the neighborhood, and there's probably 2,000 people live here.
And we have 3 entrance exits, and 2 of them are closed off.
2 of them are closed,
and one is free. There's a guard there, of course, but it's not like.
And when we say guard, it's like an older,
a normal guard. That's
older
his job.
Man who's
always. He was born there, as far as I know.
He's not with the machine.
He doesn't even have. We were expecting he might have a temperature machine or something like that. No, he's just checking in packages and
outside people have not been allowed in.
I imagine
we are able to leave and.
I imagine if you escorted somebody in, but
I guess.
I mean, how would you know? But I mean, they'd know for us. So unless it's another Chinese person or something. But
they're cleaning the hallways and the elevators. It always smells like bleach. Today they put plastic over the buttons, and they taped up a bag of tissues that if you can take the tissue and push the button with the tissue. I use my elbow.
But the buttons are taped over, and then there's tissue on top of that, and then there's trash cans all around the outside grounds,
like biohazard trash cans.
So I mean, these are things that they sound terrifying, and
they are a little bit.
Terrifying.
It is scary.
Yeah, you wouldn't normally want to live this way, but no one would want to live this way, and that's how we're living. That's just the reality of the situation. And so to panic and freak out about this is not something we don't even have an option to do that.
Well, and the scary way to interpret they closed down 2 of the doors is they're trying to siege mentality, control the
is somebody sick in the community.
But a less scary interpretation is that's a smart thing to do anyway, and this way they don't have to have so much personnel on call. They have 1 security guard instead of 3, and maybe there's something about they all can have shorter shifts, or I don't know. But
you want them to stay healthy. I want them to be alert and feel good, and I don't want them all outside sick.
And this too about the flights getting canceled, the airlines shutting down. I read an article today about that seems like, oh God, we're cut off. But it's also United doesn't want to be running empty airplanes back and forth to China. They are a business, and that's a business decision as much as a epidemiological decision.
Right, because all decisions, no matter how bad or good they are run by corporate entities. So.
And I think you can disagree with the choices that are being made. You can disagree with our choices.
Try.
But I think that we just, for me and you, the choice we're making is to live in the world as it is, and that's scary. But it is. We'll keep our shit together.
If we were in Wuhan, I would be much more worried.
Yeah, we maybe would have evacuated.
Yeah, it's not a problem of we're so against evacuating that we're hunkered down, we got our guns, and we're gonna shoot anyone that comes near us or whatever. If things were bad here, we would be thinking about it. There's still, as far as we know, as of right now, and all this stuff is like, whenever we finish taping this, things have already changed. By the time we put this and you're watching it online, things have already changed. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen at this moment. All we know is the most responsible thing for us to do is sit tight, don't spread anything, don't catch anything.
Yeah.
And
for this to not blow up our entire lives is really our goal.
Yeah.
And I for both of us, I think we feel like leaving China would be that.
And because this is everything that we're doing. This is where we live, and we know very well that citizenship and all that kind of stuff, like, it's a foolish thing to say, like, I'm going to live in China. We're not planning on living in China for the rest of our lives, and we're not planning on, like, that's not even what we're talking about.
And the rest of our lives is going to be a while.
Right. Yeah, it's not in 14 days, it's all over.
Yeah.
This is where we live now. Wherever you live now, wherever we have our stuff, wherever I got my keyboard and my guitar, I mean, wherever you lay your hat or whatever, that, like, this is what we're doing now. And so is everybody else. Everybody in our building is still here. Everyone in our area is still here. Like, hardly anybody that we even know, if they've evacuated, I don't even actually... I mean, we know that there are people that, like, in the Peace Corps, but, like, that's because of politics. And I don't even know who any of those people are.
Oh, here's the figure I heard is that, like, 192 Americans have evacuated, but there's, like, somewhere between 70,000 and 100,000 Americans in China. So it's it's actually as of now, as of yesterday, is a small number who've evacuated.
And in our city.
In our city, who we know, no one has.
Yeah. So that is like, we're not doing anything wild. There's people out there in the hospitals helping out. I just posted, like, shared on Facebook of, like, Sichuan farmers are out there working in the fields right now, gathering vegetables to send to Wuhan.
Yeah.
People are sending masks, and
were it to go really bad is if we started starving to death because of stuff shutting down, which is, like, it's a scary sentence to utter, but right now we're prepped for a period. We won't starve. We have enough food in our house
for quite a while. For only 2 people, like, a bag of rice can go forever.
And if farmers are still farming, that's important. If farmers are still bringing their wares into the city to sell, that's important.
I can hear our neighbors still have chickens.
Yeah.
And again, we're on the 28th floor in the middle of the city, so.
Yeah. And some of it feels like a little bit like, because we don't usually cook that much, and we've been like, it's both to keep busy and to feed ourselves. We've been, like, making these elaborate meals, and, like, I baked bread from scratch a couple times.
Wonderful chocolate cookies.
Yeah, so it feels like a whole
apocalyptic
different way of life. But it's also like I'm eating healthier, cookies included, than I ever have.
Oh, but I'm already looking forward to when everything clears up. I'm gonna eat so much hot pot. We're going straight to a hot pot.
Yeah, as soon as hot pot's back, we're back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the really tough thing is that, especially the people that have decided around the country to go home. I mean, if people are going because, I mean, a lot of us expats are here single by themselves, and especially if you're living by yourself, I mean.
Oh yeah, I think that must be excruciating if you're by yourself.
So those choices to, like, take that home and people are still on vacation even without the virus, like, go home. Because
I'm a little bit envious of the people who work at the grocery store because they get to go do stuff all day. And, like, my job probably isn't going to come back for a couple weeks. And it shouldn't. I don't think.
We don't want those kids out.
Yeah, the kids are actually in the danger population, and they're tiny disease vectors at the best of times. As I keep saying, because it's just, I'm, like, astounded that a child sneezed in my mouth.
Not recently.
A couple weeks ago. Yeah. Not recently. I already had that cold and recovered from it.
Yeah.
That was a few weeks ago. But, like, kids, totally keep them home. Let's not set up that breeding ground.
Yeah. Like you saw, like you on.
So it's my job to stay sane.
One of your students' parents sent a picture of one of your students just laying over the top of a lazy chair, just like a dead cat. Like. Yeah. That's what we're all doing. And
that's what we're all
doing in this town. And I think that's what most people are doing. Most responsible people. I mean, I've seen just overnight. I don't know how many days it's been going on, but like, not so much, I guess, China, but like Instagrammers are using this as like a cool thing for them to like.
A mask fashion show.
Mask fashion, take off their shirts, kiss on the beach in Thailand with their masks on, like it's like sexy hashtag time.
Yeah.
Like. Oh, everyone's having fun. That's great. I mean,
I think that's in more poor taste than the video we did.
Yeah.
Fake apocalypse.
Right. I mean,
you're wasting surgical masks.
Right. Yeah. Staying safe, and there's apparently the what's the game that you play, the apocalypse game that you've been playing forever? Kill the planet.
Plague Inc. Yeah.
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 So
that game seems in really poor taste.
Well, it's all the rage right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Especially because the strategy is that the winningest strategy is start your plague in India or China.
Yep. So that's a big thing online with gamers and YouTube, as people seeing how they can destroy the world using the facts of, and I guess the gamers, the builders themselves are like, this is not made for you to figure out how to destroy humanity with this game in this particular situation.
It's not a modeling tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fun of it, getting back to like
fun of it.
what are we doing inside is everyone's trying to keep busy some way, and some of it's in poor taste and some of it's in fine taste, and whatever you decide, as long as you're not hurting other people.
I mean, we tend towards gallows humor. That's how we keep our spirits up.
Yeah, we joke all day, and again, part of like why we're doing this is that just because we find ourselves saying the same things over and over and over. We're making ourselves laugh. We're trying to have fun with it. We get a little bit worried, and we calm ourselves down.
Well, and that's the thing of like that we're here together is so like I can get all worked up and then talk to you, and then like okay, well if getting worked up means making a different choice, let's make that different choice. And if it getting worked up, we figure out that this is the choice that we're happy with, then let's keep living.
Yeah, and living here.
Yeah. But masks is a thing because that in the West even is catching on as wear masks everywhere. And science knows this, that masks are most effective for keeping a sick person's fluids to themselves. They're not really effective if you're healthy or your medical staff. Medical staff also should wear them if they're healthy, even. And so part of like the run on masks, I saw a discussion in Singapore where the disease isn't yet, and people are worried about hoarders buying them for the whole stash, is that like the world's supply of masks is not infinite, and at a certain point we are going to have to prioritize medical personnel and people who are sick. So wearing the mask,
if things get worse.
If things gets worse. But even now, like, don't wear masks now if there's no virus in your country. You're wasting what's not a infinite resource.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've been calling it security theater. And I don't want to write off, like, if it makes you feel better to wear a mask, that is maybe a helpful thing. And for us, I wear a mask when we go outside because it seems, and I wear a cloth mask, which is useless in this situation, but it seems like the etiquette to say like we're all keeping our fluids to ourselves. Like especially when I was running the other day, like I don't want people to think I'm like getting my stuff everywhere. But it is like medically a cloth mask is doing nothing to stop.
I would say my entire life I've always been right on the verge of, should I become a germaphobe?
Yeah, but washing your hands and not touching stuff is way more important. And then I guess also important, if you are sick, do wear a mask. And if you are not sick, give the sick person a wide berth. If you see someone coughing and sneezing, stay like 6 feet away from them.
Right. And so I'm not really all that put out by any of this. I mean, keep your fluids to yourself is just a general mantra that I've had in my head my entire life.
Yeah, even if you don't have coronavirus currently, I don't want your fluids.
Yeah, and your germs and your hands to yourself.
Yeah, because other germs don't know that coronavirus is the star of the news.
Right, yeah, there's other things going on out there.
They haven't taken some time off. They haven't taken any time off.
There's all kinds of stuff out there. There's rhinoceroses.
Yeah.
But the the fear part of it is certainly something to be aware of. But being aware means that gives you strength and knowledge to be able to take care of yourself and those people around you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the masks, be responsible, don't throw them away, but don't use them too much. I mean, all these different things.
Throw them away properly.
Yeah.
Wear them properly.
And again, all this stuff is on websites everywhere else.
Yeah.
Don't pay any attention. I don't even know why we're talking about this so much.
Well, because I wanted to bring up that that's like culturally it seems to be the norm right now. But it's not. No, that's not actually even medically sound.
Culturally, people wear masks all the time. Like you said, you wear them for certain reasons.
Yeah.
With nothing to do with virus.
Yeah.
People wear them all the time around here.
It helps my asthma not to have cold air in my lungs.
Yeah.
It's a totally different. Which, going to the pharmacy, we did buy like some weeks ahead of supplies, and I bought another inhaler. And because it's a respiratory disease, the women at the pharmacy know that I buy this inhaler every month. They know I have asthma, but I'm like, I should bring like the documentation that says this is what it's for, and so I don't get. And that's like, I don't know if that's even ever necessary, but it is like it seems.
I mean, they have.
That's the precautions I can take, I guess.
They have, being that this is our local pharmacy and they know you, we have a reputation there.
Yeah.
They know what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, there's reasons why at the pharmacy that they check things so that like you're not like hoarding whatever chemicals you need to make meth or something like that. Like there's normal things in check, but we don't really worry about a lot of those things because you have a relationship.
Yeah.
And what I'm steering us back around to is that this being our neighborhood,
the relationship,
that we know the people, and not that like everyone here is our best friends and we know everyone's name or anything like that. But I mean, obviously it's easy in a small town to know who we are.
Yeah.
But because there's only a few handfuls of foreigners in this town anyways, so
although more than we
think, yeah. Sometimes they surprise us.
40 instead of 20.
Yeah, we fluctuate somewhere between 60 and 6 at any time throughout the year over the 8 years that we've been here, so it does surprise us.
But like we met our neighbor out on the street the other day, and he was just like talking to anybody who passed by, and it made me really, really empathetic for like Peter and I are somewhat housebound in the best of occasions, and we're introverts, and so like there's a little bit of like when I've talked on the phone with people of like other people, but only a little bit because I don't need that much social energy to recharge.
Right.
But if you're an extrovert, you must be like crawling the walls. And like this guy was so nice, and like we have plans to get together after the virus dissipates. He wants to jam with Peter. He maybe plays the saxophone.
Plays saxophone.
Yeah.
I would be interesting if he's the guy that's always jamming sax on a nice day out the window.
Yeah, that might be him.
It could be him. So like. But that part of the community, we met a cat today.
Yeah.
There's people out, and they're going for their little walks and doing their constitutionals and taking grandma out, and see how terrible things have gotten. That it's not an atmosphere where we feel like we need to be doing anything else than what we are doing.
Yeah.
That doing anything else actually might be hurtful to the situation, to other people.
Well, it's a tough situation because it is like all you can do is wash your hands and wait and see. And the wait and see part is hard. It's hard for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's our responsibility, you and me, to keep taking care of ourselves, and that includes mentally.
Yep.
Making sure that we're not driving each other crazy.
Yep. You're doing some yoga.
Yeah.
We're working on little projects.
I'm doing my weight training as best as possible so I don't lose my gains.
And the keeping busy. I mean, even like here's another thing is that it's really hard. It's a two-way window, but the internet is on. Our VPN is on. We're sending this probably out to you some way. Like,
if there was like a reason to mistrust the government, they would have shut the VPN down already.
Yeah, and like the fact that we are getting all the same information. Like, it's funny because I see some people like in comments on YouTubes or Facebooks or whatever, asking people that like us that are like, oh my God, is everything okay? We're not. You guys probably don't have any like as if we're all sitting like in a dirt pond with like no information or whatever. Like we're
drowning in information.
Yeah, well, all we have is people yelling and screaming at us to like, don't tell me in Idaho what I should be doing here.
Yeah.
Like we're not in a ground zero or not even anywhere close to a ground zero in Luzhou, Sichuan. But like to hear people in other countries actually telling us what we should be doing because they think that we don't get any information. We've got as much information as anybody else because our internet is working perfectly fine. In fact, it's actually working much better now than it was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's
that could be the fancy new 5G router.
Oh yeah. Christmas present to us. We're watching all the shows. We just watched the premiere finale of the Good Place last night.
Which is, we needed a meditation on mortality.
Must watch.
Not better.
So we are keeping up with everything. And it's not just, all the other people that are doing China vlogging out there, they're uploading hour after hour after hour. People are getting our information as expats out there.
And I think it comes down to there's nothing to do. Mm-hmm. Scientists and doctors and medical professionals around the world are working on it. And at the best, if the spread of cases stopped today, we'd still need 2 weeks to make sure we've cleared whatever.
Yeah, which is one of those weird things.
It's like we're not even officially in a quarantine. We're like in a semi-homebound state.
Floating in the stasis amber of like, what do we do right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
Break out board games, see what's on TV.
I have one last puzzle.
The emergency puzzle for just this occasion.
And that's the hard part again, is like the not knowing and the not knowing how long. And that's like when you were in the hospital, that was also the hardest part. And it was all like you were much more close to a life and death situation because you were actually sick. Mm-hmm. And that not that I was like, just die already. But like, if the end of this was that you were going to die, I would want to know, and then like not being able to know was hard. And then the end of it was that you didn't die. So hooray.
Well, I think that's...
And statistically, the end of this is that we're not going to die. We just don't know how long it's going to be like this.
And I think that's where this, and not just us, and not around the country, but it seems like all around the world, the way that we are flooded with, and this isn't some kind of big speech of how the media works and everything, but the way that because we do have a faucet that is filled with just gushing information at us all the time, and we can't go anywhere. It's like being stuck in a cell with a hose just like blasting at us, like, and you say turn it off, and like, yeah, we do. We keep turning it off, and then we turn it back on. Like, I don't. Even if you're just going to like, I'm just gonna go download a new TV show. Let's see what's on 𝗵𝗵ci:h tonight or something like that. Like, boom! You're doing life wrong.
And
God, get back in.
On 𝗵𝗵ci:h is coronavirus.
Yeah,
what you need to know.
There's nowhere that we can go to stay occupied other than like sit with a candle and do a puzzle or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that. Talk about like meditations in life, of trying to take that into to some kind of like rational. How do I Zen calm myself out of all this excitement?
And it's the equanimity of acceptance rather than resistance.
Right. Because you can't go anywhere. We are actually here. We can't go anywhere away from this other than turn everything
and
off.
And in some respects that is easier, because if there's the possibility, then you're like constantly second guessing, is this the wrong choice?
Yeah.
And you know,
we went back and forth all last night of just like, what does it actually mean? I mean, should we leave? I mean, we're not actually planning on leaving, but like, are we fools for leaving? Should we? Let's examine how crazy are we for leaving? But then we're right back to like, if we do leave, no, it's crazy to leave. I mean, we can argue back and forth all day long.
Yeah.
And the bottom line,
the money we have, the savings we have, is going to go a lot further in China than if we left.
Right.
So the medicine we take, because we're older people, we take medicines, are cheap here and available here for now.
And our life is here. Like, there isn't anything other than like family and friends back home, and that's nothing. But like they don't give us work or like they don't. You know, we don't, and we don't want to.
Some of them are voting against universal health care.
So, yeah, for us to decide, like, we're not actually, we can sit here all day long because we're trapped again in this apartment, and it's a great apartment. We love living here. It's not like any kind of like, we're again, 28th floor. We're in a round building. We're in a whole corner of windows or we got sunshine. What little sunshine
is. If the sun ever comes out, we have it. I ripped a drawer face off.
Of the kitchen drawer?
Of the kitchen drawer by accident. I mean, that's neither here nor there.
That wasn't out of rage or anything. It's just that.
And that was the morning of my birthday. That was the first thing I did because the drawer was stuck, and I was like, I'll get it open. And then the face of it just came right off. And I think I've just like been pondering that. Well, is there meaning in that?
Right.
No.
And again, that's this is your birthday. This is how you're spending your birthday in this weird situation of like
the big 4-0.
Oh. In a foreign country, in a lockdown, not military lockdown, but responsibility-wise, we're in a relatively country city. Yeah. Out in the middle of country city. That's country mouse.
It's like
city mouse.
It's far enough out that we're not worried about like massive rioting because there's just not. I mean, I guess 2 million people is enough for a riot, but it doesn't feel like Shanghai or Beijing of like there's just people everywhere. But it's not rural enough that we'd be worried of like there's no supplies.
Well, yeah. Again, that goes back to our neighbors and how well we've been treated over here in 8 years. That like people, it's a small enough town where people know us all around town, and everyone's always been really nice to us, and we reciprocate and as best as possible to. It's such a good experience that it isn't like we walk downstairs and we have new friends every day. So it's hard not to think that like this is a safe. If our neighbors are here and they're not going anywhere
and they're not freaking out,
we need to do the same.
Because our neighbors have lived through SARS,
right?
Which we were not.
And
over
earthquakes
here for that.
and
so they know like that the social order is not going to break down. Some of our neighbors have lived through the Cultural Revolution.
A lot of them, I think.
Society breakdown. But I don't think we're there. I think.
Our grocery stores, the only thing. I mean, there's lettuce. There's fresh lettuce.
Yeah, they're getting fresh vegetables every day.
Yeah,
it seems like the shelves are full. The stocks keep rotating.
The only thing not full as shelves are the prepackaged vegetables, and even those have some.
And hand soap and masks.
Yeah.
Those things are long gone. But we have those things. We have a good stockpile.
Yeah, and I think everyone else was paying attention enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not a farm town. There's farms outside of our city.
Yeah.
So there are farmers that are.
Which maybe is a good thing.
Right. But we're also, our population here is very well educated and modern.
Yeah.
We have people. We're just in the taxi before this, and just got into a random taxi one day, and a woman was, where's she from? Like,
oh, New Orleans.
From New Orleans.
Yeah,
for like
she was born in Luzhou, but she's lived for the past 30 years in New Orleans. Which is like, it was a really cool cab ride, actually.
Yeah, and she's like delivering a.
She was going to a gucheng lesson.
Yeah, I was delivering. No, she had the instrument. She was bringing it to a.
Or gucheng is maybe
the big.
Whatever the other one is.
This thing.
𝗵𝗵.
Whatever.
Oh no, that is gucheng, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, so
call in if you know that. What the heck we're talking about?
This is the kind of like neighborhood that we have.
Yeah.
And so for us to leave it, kind of feels like we're bailing out because like, hey, we're lucky enough we're getting lifted.
Yeah, we don't belong here, so we're leaving. And that's not what we spent the past 8 years building.
Yeah, and everything that we're doing, I mean, partially like why we have all this equipment and why we do YouTube at all is because we're writing a script for a movie series and it's about this city. And we're in not any rush to like, we're taking our time to make sure that we're doing it right. We've already spent 8 years working on learning about the city and learning about China so that we don't just like tell a story of a knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, look at me, I'm in a weird place.
Yeah.
And we have more years, plenty more years that we plan on working on this and writing it and researching it more about the city, involving people in the city. So we don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, we have like relationships we're cultivating to get that project done.
Right.
We don't want to start over.
Yeah. So like taking off somewhere is really, it's a bad thing for us. Like it has to be bad. And again, we'll leave if it's really bad.
Yeah.
But
but we are going to decide what means really bad.
English now bad now. How?
The other thing that I've been like holistically, mindfully focusing on is my plants, which like seems like such a cliche, but like I really get gardening in a way I never have before. My mystery plant, which short story, I bought last spring some seeds that were labeled in English carrots and in Chinese, no, in English basil, Greek basil, and Chinese carrots, and it's definitely neither of those things.
I have no idea what it is.
And it's gone through like several mutations of like, it was this like really weedy little weak and then the recent evolution is it just shot up a giant stalk and is flowering. As I still have no idea what this plant is. I thought every day since I planted it and it shot up and then it was like this weak little blah, blah, I've thought it was gonna die. And then we went to Sanya for a week and so it didn't get watered for a week. And like it was healthier than ever. That's how I figured out it doesn't like that much water. But yeah, I have no idea what this plant is, but I get to see the flowers growing every day. And then my basil plant also is bolting, which I wanted to happen, so I'll get seeds to grow new basil.
And luckily we bought plenty of spaghetti and spaghetti sauce, so we can put little fresh basil leaves while we're stuck in here.
And the hot pepper plant, a new shoot just grew up today. I planted it like 6 months ago. Oh, in the summer? I don't know, August. Plants are weird, man, but it's helping me like take the long view.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you can probably tell we're a little maniac. And we don't know how much longer it's going to be. But we know enough about what's going on with the virus that we need to stay where we're at right now as a responsible thing, at least for what we believe for us.
Yeah.
It's responsible to stick with what we're doing.
Is go to a public airport.
Yeah, I mean,
right now.
You can take your chances with that however you want, or you can think we're crazy
for
not like doing it. Like
who's made a different choice, I don't condemn that. You have to make the choice that makes sense.
Totally. I mean, we're making our choice for our specific reasons that we just talked about and that we've been talking about for days and will be talking about for days.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more of these videos we will make before this is over.
Well, that's the problem. It's like by day 3, we're done talking about coronavirus. Like, oh, it's not going away.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what.
So by day 5, we're back on the same subject, but like things have mutated.
Yeah. And because it is a little hard to like focus on things that are not that right now.
Yeah. And like even like all the projects that when we're saying like we're writing songs and stuff, like these are things that we're normally doing every day, but they're all unfocused at the moment. Like you can't really say like, okay, so this long term, like even like we're just saying like writing a script. This is a script that we've been working on for a while, and we plan on working for a while. And I don't want to write about these characters right now when in this state of mind. I don't want them touched by something that has nothing.
I think it will turn. If we wrote episodes today, I think it would turn into, for some reason, they're stuck at home and they can't go outside.
Right.
Which is not the plots that are on our whiteboard.
There's no chance of this story ever turning into some kind of supernatural or zombie or apocalypse or something like that.
The story we're writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not that we're living.
Not that we're living.
We are living the apocalypse.
I don't want to laugh in the face of zombies.
Yeah. We're not, like, we don't want to be influenced by what we're doing, so everything has to be sort of like a surface. I mean, usually when we're going to put this show together now, we spend all this pride and joy of putting it together with extra screens, and like I'd have film up here about like live stuff going on outside and neighborhoods, and we have extra stuff that we float in and vlog videos that we put in and all this other, but we can't go outside. And I don't even want to think about, like, I mean, I guess are a decent amount of people that are going out there with their cameras, putting on their masks, hopefully, and going out around cities and like
masks are security theater, wash your hands.
And running around cities and going like, oh my God, look at this. I mean, that's not what we're doing. Yeah.
Not today, anyway.
Well, not today. We did that at the beginning, and we're done with that. But what we're doing now is just sticking around the house and trying to keep busy with whatever we can, not totally drive ourselves crazy with what people are telling us on the internet.
Yeah. I have to tell you, because we are writing a song that I'm going to sing, and so I've been doing like vocal exercises to get back into the singing shape. It does feel like really, and the same with exercising, like viscerally good to do something with your body. So that's if there's any tip besides wash your hands,
sing a song.
Yeah. Sing it happy your whole day long. Yeah. But I'm kind of talked out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come back if we need to.
Noodles to you.